Hey guys, sorry, I didn't realize that we were live already. I've just got the chat up so I can see who's in the chat today. Welcome, everyone. How's everyone's week been? Obviously, last week I was off on holiday, so this week we are doing 2 sessions for you guys. So we're going to be doing giveaways on both days. Let's just see who is here. Okay, cool. I've got some new people. I've got some people that I've seen quite a few times. King, Amuri, amazing. Ashup. It's nice to see you here. I'm doing well, just a little bit ill. I feel like I'm always ill, but a little bit ill since being back off holiday. But yeah, let's get straight back into things. We'll do an analysis on all of the things that I look at. If there's anything in particular you want me to look at or any kind of questions, please do make sure you do ask. And it's just so that you guys know how the giveaway works is that at the end of the stream, I will be picking 3 winners. We use a random comment picker for the giveaway. So, you know, it's going to be 3 people picked at random. You have to be here though, because if you get picked and you do not claim your prize, we will have to give it to someone else. Thank you, Appy. Good morning to some people, good afternoon to others. But yes, let's have a little look. So the last time we actually looked at Euro USD, it's pretty much doing what we said it was going to do. So it'll be interesting to see now how we react from this area here. But we do have a bigger trend line down there. So let's have a little zoom out, shall we? Let's have a look at the daily. Okay, cool. So this is interesting. We've got a daily trend line here. Looks like we are actually breaking through. So let's just adjust our trend line coming down as well, because we kind of moved this out here. This is a key area that we are coming up to on the 4-hour. But as I guess on the daily right now, it's looking slightly different to the 4-hour. It looks like we're pushing through on the daily, but obviously it's a daily chart, so we're not going to actually know until this closes. So we could push down and then reject. The 4-hour is a little bit further away from the trend line. So it'll be interesting to see if we kind of break through this area. I could see something like this happening. Let's have a little look. Kind of like a little push down, then back up to this trend line. But yeah, let's see how we respond to this area. We're not having instant rejection. And just so that you guys are aware, the strategy that I trade is I am a price action trader. I don't really use indicators. I did start to use the moving averages, but to be honest, I wasn't really liking it that much. I kind of felt like it was a little bit pointless for me. I like to read what the charts are telling me, not just technically, but I really look into the psychology of human behavior, of market behavior, and this is how I trade. So I like my key areas. So that's like your supply and demand. And I can trade supply and demand off any time frame really, but when I use trend lines, I only use trend lines for the 1-hour, the 4-hour, and the daily. I don't do it on the lower time frame. But yeah, so guys, if you have any questions at all, please do ask away. Hey Grace, we have Levi here. Thank you, King Amari. I'm not too sure if I am pronouncing Amory. Yeah, Amory. But yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in, guys. So this is interesting, like I said, because this is a really key area that hasn't actually been tapped into. A lot of people always ask me about the key zones. I'm for me personally, I feel like a zone can be used multiple times. But actually, if it's never been used, if it was created but price hasn't come back to yet, I do find those areas a bit stronger. And even if it does end up breaking through, we could see the correction happening around here. So especially if the zone was created on a higher time frame, what I personally would like to do is take positions from the 50% area here. So you can see that we're in the extension at the moment. So we could have some type of pullback. All depends on what kind of trader you are. If you counter trend trade, don't know what happened to my light there. Oh, there we go, light is back on. If you're like a scalper, it depends on what it is that you like to trade. There's kind of multiple things that I pay attention to when I trade. A lot of people always ask, like, give me the exact strategy, but I've been trading for nearly 9 years. When you've been trading this long, there is a lot of different things that I use in my technical analysis. So if I personally wouldn't be looking to trade against this trend just because of how strong the bearish trend is right now. I would want to at least probably wait till about here before I take any buy positions. So what I would personally be looking for is to be entering in on the pullback. So a new key area. Not too sure what keeps happening to my light. Keeps switching off. Another key area. A lot of people ask me, how do I mark up my key areas? So when you see these big moves, so for example, this big move down, the way that it is subjective, but I do personally think everything in trading is subjective. There's no right or wrong. This is the way that I like to do things. So this area would have been the breakout area, which is technically where my key zone on the 4-hour has now been created. So where the big move happened, I would use the previous candle of the opposing side. So obviously this is a big move to the downside. I'm using the full length of the candle, wick to wick, as my area. So if it's a little bit of a consolidation, I will use a whole consolidation zone. But a move like this is where I would be marking up, your area of break and retest. Some people like to, for example, enter or have a key area where we broke out of. So for example, here, you can see here, let's just mark up this area here because that was technically the last candle before this big move down. But price never well, to be fair, it did actually come back here, but I don't know if to be honest, at this point I wouldn't have really marked this area until this low had been broken. Then I would have marked it, and it's already kind of that zone has already been tapped into, but it would have been too late. Whereas this breakout area, another key zone to potentially monitor, so you can see how well zones are respected. We literally came in, tapped in, so we could have had a play like this and then played it down to the next zone, which would be a really, really nice trade, a 1 to 6.62. But yes, so now, waiting for that pullback to happen. This is going to be my new key area to monitor. Is very much, that this here would be your area of retest. So it's, pretty much all the same. It's not that far off. So maybe, having an area like that. But when it's such a big zone, I like to use the 50%, kind of area to the zone. So, it's I'm just gonna actually make this bigger. Would be something like this. And then I wouldn't want to take a position until price came kind of to retest back up here. But let me have a little look and see if we've got any questions. Oh, thank you. Yes, I do actually feel okay. I've just got a blocked nose as usual. Mon, hello. It's good to see you here. It's good to see my regulars. What's your average holding time? So this can really vary. I'm very much a day trader. I would love to become a swing trader, and this is something that I will be massively working on this year. But I think if you're a swing trader, I think fundamentals are a really big part to understand so that you can just feel more confident holding positions. So this is something that I'm personally working on. But as of right now, I am a day trader. I don't really stay in positions for longer than a day. And that's just my personal preference at the moment. But no, I don't really tend to hold my trades over the weekends. Doesn't really, yeah, I'm not really a swing trader at the moment, but it's not something that I don't want to do. I just think it takes time to transition because the mindset is so different, and there's different components. I think as a day trader, fundamentals don't always matter as much because you're in and out of trades quite quickly. It doesn't matter about holding positions, or you're just trying to ride a small part of the wave. You're the best. Thank you, Mantas. That's so sweet of you. How much time? Okay, so how much time did it take for me to get profitable? I've been trading for nearly 9 years, and the first 5 years was just a no-go. I didn't make any money. And I'm always so honest about that because I really want, people to see the reality sometimes. But I also didn't help myself, guys. Like, I didn't try to learn. I was trying to do it all like the long way of trying to do it yourself. I was speaking to someone yesterday and he was like, "Oh, I don't want to get help from anyone. It's just me in this." And I was exactly the same. But I think when you're 5 years deep and you're still not making any money, comes a point when you're like, okay, the ego just needs to be dropped. Who actually cares about being self-made or whatever? I hope all of you guys are here just because you just want to make money, not just because you want your ego to feel good. But anyway, I think all of us go through that as traders where we feel like, we just need to do it all by ourselves. So I feel like it could have, it didn't actually need to be as long as it did, but we live and we learn. We hope that Euro USD goes up next week. That was a good sell setup. Oh, Siam, sorry to hear about you breaching your 10K account. What happened? USD JPY, that is something that I am starting to really look at. So let's have a little look at USD JPY. So this was, I think, the last time we spoke. I thought something like this would happen. It pretty much did. We just went actually a little bit higher before coming back down. So let's have a little look on this and see how this is looking. I had a really interesting conversation today about the Japanese yen. As I was saying, swing trading is something that I do want to get more into. So I personally think that fundamentals is a really good thing to understand. And my mentor, he is a fundamental trader. He had his own hedge fund. I'm really lucky because he's a family friend, so he's able to help me a lot. And he was saying to me, for a very long time, USD JPY has been slowly moving up, but the fundamental side of things, the yen is so undervalued that at some point it is going to be going up. Like, inflation is happening in the US, but deflation is happening in the Japanese economy. There's a lot of different factors. I was learning so much today. There's a huge factor when it comes to fundamentals, and that's actually the age of the country. The birth rate is very low in Japan, so obviously, they're going to have a load of old people and no young people, and then a load of old people to basically pay pensions, and so there's so many different factors as to. So on the surface level, the yen should be rising, but actually there's other aspects of it as to why it has just been falling. But we can now start to see that the yen is slowly starting to rise, and obviously there's a lot of stuff going on in the US right now, so it'll be a really interesting one to see. It's been going up for a while. As you can see here, it's been going up for a while, but now we have started to see, this is on the daily, so we have now started to see a bit of a reversal happening. Not too sure why my light keeps going off. And you can see here, we marked up these key areas on the daily. We tapped into here once, we tapped into here again. It's respecting these zones really well. Not too sure. This one's not really doing a lot. Okay, so this is it's just in a really big range at the moment, so it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out over the next kind of 6 months. But yeah, this is a new currency pair that I am really interested in trading, especially because we have actually started to see a bit, not a complete reversal. We probably want to see, this trend line being broken, but it is showing some strength in the yen. So again, it's just been really interesting to learn more of the fundamental side of things. Let's just start going down and seeing, how we would be trading this as a day trader. So this is the kind of ranges that we can see, your swing highs, your swing lows, then you've got a smaller range in between. So right now, short-term buy positions for this pair is definitely possible, but there has not been any like real proper setups for me, because I would probably be looking at this kind of area. This is the retest area, because we had a bit of consolidation here. If we use the fib tool, I would have wanted this to pull back a little bit more before just entering. So if we have a look here, the 50% is at the top of, where are we? 50% top, and then pretty much the bottom of that is the 0.06, which, these three areas on the fib tool are kind of like my sweet spots. So we are just kind of aggressively pushing up. The one of the biggest skills that I think that you can have in trading is patience, being okay with price not always doing what you want it to do, and not thinking, oh, I'm just going to get in, because where we haven't pulled back, something that I've seen happen a lot of times, I haven't really figured out a way to kind of like explain this properly, but I'm going to try. But a lot of the times, when price doesn't correct properly, what you'll see is, this momentum going up. The psychology of of all the traders is, we need to get into the actually I did that wrong, into the buy position. So we're pushing up. We didn't really pull back price hasn't actually really corrected properly. We keep pushing up, having like these really small pullbacks, and then what I notice is that actually a lot of the time we actually come back down, and then you get the bigger move. It's probably not the best drawing, but hopefully, you can kind of understand what I mean when price doesn't correct properly, and you kind of see this. And if you can understand the psychology of the market and of not just the market, but your individual psychology, then your crowd psychology. You know, when price is really really moving, everyone starts jumping in, and the greed starts happening. So I personally would always rather just wait for setups that I'm really happy with, that make sense to me. Like right here, you know, yeah, okay, we got this big push, but we had such a big extension that I would have wanted it to pull back a little bit more, or some type of key area. And this is such a big lesson for me over my years of trading, of there is always another trade, guys. You know, never feel like you've missed it, because how many times have you felt like you've missed it, and then next week there's another move just as big or bigger? You know, that it's infinite. So never feel like you've missed it. But the real skill as a trader is being able to manage those emotions. There's a reason why so many people breach their accounts, so many people emotionally trade, is because they don't understand any of these things. Let me just have a little look and see if we've got any questions. We Yeah, that would have been a really good sell setup for Euro USD. Gracie, I'm down 2% daily drawdown. That's fine. You know, drawdown is absolutely fine, guys. Like, don't ever feel disheartened about drawdown, because this is when people start to spiral. Again, trading isn't just about being able to technically trade, because I'm sure actually most of you all know how to use technicals to trade, but not very many people understand psychology on a deeper level, and a lot of people don't even spend the time trying to get to understand themselves. And when people see drawdown, you know, some of the best traders can be they can have a losing month and still make millions the next month. You know, so if you can't handle the drawdown and can't manage those emotions whilst you're in the drawdown, then you're really going to struggle to get that bounce back, because you got to see it as a business, right? Like, every business has expenses, sometimes bigger expenses than you would want, but it's essential to making money. So don't see it as a bad thing. See it as a lesson. Understand why, you know, why you're taking those losses, where you're going wrong. And never see it as that as a negative thing. Ma'am, every pool area is a sale entry. Siam, I'm not too sure what you mean. But yeah, hello. Ramadan happy Ramadan for those of you who are taking part. It's okay to blow accounts, but never give up and keep learning. Exactly. We all blow accounts. We've all done things that we're not proud of. But the biggest thing that you need to understand is why. Understand what triggered you. Understand where you went wrong, because so many people just say, "Oh well, I'm not going to give up. Let me try again." But what use is that? You know, what use is that? You need to be understanding why you are doing what you're doing. Is, again, like a business, if you don't know your numbers and you don't understand why you're not making money, then you don't know how to improve. You know, you can't just keep going and just keep repeating the same mistakes, and then expecting something different. So this is the trap that a lot of traders are in, because they're so focused on the technicals. This is what you'll see on social media, because it sells, right? It's so I'm sure all of you are so much more interested when you see videos. It's like, let me show you this trade setup, rather than let me teach you about the psychology of the market. Let me teach you about your own psychology. Let me teach you about how to get to know yourself. It's not as sexy, it's not as fun, but you know, these are the reasons why people struggle the most. And they don't understand how to play into their strengths. They focus maybe on things that they struggle more on, because they don't even take the time to even get to really know themselves. When I went to see my mentor today, you know, he's a great trader, but he said to me, like, you have to know yourself. You need to know what your edge is, and I can't give you that edge. You know, you see everyone online saying, follow me, copy me, and I'll teach you this edge. But the edge has to be personable to you. it has to be something that you're very, very good at, not necessarily what someone else is very good at, because we all have different minds. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know why my light just keeps switching off. Let me have a look. What is the best trading? Not too sure what you mean by that, Siam. Nice potential buy opportunity. Yes, so like I said, we are gonna be we're literally just going to be waiting for this setup. If we don't get, the pullback down to here and we get a bit of a push up there, we are going to be buying into a key area, also a big trend line there. So again, if we don't get our setup, we don't get our setup. And I think this is just very, very important for us to understand. Okay, let's have a look at gold. Everybody loves gold. Let's have a little look at what gold is doing. We had a lot of areas lined up on gold. Looks like we are entering a bit of a range at the moment. So let's have a top-down analysis of gold. Got the light back on. Don't know why that keeps switching off. So we're going to start fresh. Get rid of that. Gold obviously had a huge drop. This was the talk of the town. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, never seen gold move this way. And again, I had a conversation with my mentor. He has been trading for like 50 years, 45 years. And I said, oh, I've never seen gold move like this. And he was like, yeah, no, it has. It's done this before. But because obviously I probably wasn't alive, I didn't know this stuff. So it's really interesting to hear about trading from a perspective of the bigger picture over, not just the last decade, but the last half a century, basically. It's very, very different perspective. And we were having a big chat about it. And this move like this on gold, it was so overbought. Everyone was like, what happened? Why did it suddenly drop? Like, at some point, if you look at this chart, there was no correction happening, and really it never dropped down to the point. It didn't even break the steepest trend line, on the daily. Look how many trend lines I've created for gold. It didn't even break this trend line. So all it did was just correct itself. Everyone, when the market is so overbought, the big players are going to start locking in their profit. So they're going to sell. And then as that momentum starts to happen, everyone starts to panic. Everyone's saying this is the moment that gold drops down to zero. And that causes this kind of momentum, because this, I think, happened in like 24 hours, which was crazy. Well, not 24 hours. It was basically 2 days. So obviously in a very, very short space of time, gold did drop, but now we are kind of making our way slowly back up again. Not ready to say, that gold is fully starting this downtrend. I do think it will happen. It will be interesting to really see what happens with gold over the next kind of like 5 years. The world changes, but I always am very skeptical. The headlines is always about gold, how it's going to like 7,000, everyone's buying gold. And again, my mentor was telling me that he actually worked a lot with the press, because he wanted people to be doing what he was doing. So you have to understand that sometimes when you're constantly hearing things, everything is engineered to control the masses. So I do believe at some point gold is going to start to reverse. Again, it has happened before. You will get like a bull run of like 3 to 5 years, and then you get the slow bearish trend, whereas the bullish is like very, very steep. But it has happened before, and again, this wasn't even something that I was even aware of, because I haven't been in the game long enough like that to understand the cycles. And it's kind of like human nature to want to buy more than they want to sell. So yeah, anyway, really, really interesting. So we obviously had this key area here, but just below that, we actually had a key area which it just about tapped into. We had this kind of consolidation, or didn't even really tap into it. Oh, got very, very close. Yeah, before kind of this big push up. So, we can see here that we are struggling to get this push back up, but doesn't mean that it's not, like we are currently on this new trend line that we have created. So be interesting to see, where price actually starts to move to. Let's see if we got any other key areas on the lower time frame. So yeah, I mean, when this came tumbling down, like I would never have just had an order on for here because of such momentum. When you see these kind of big wicks, like this is fear. This is a manipulation in my eyes, like, so I would never want to just instantly buy. But then you saw straight away when it settled again, this would have actually been a really good area to buy from. Okay, and now we kind of have this area here. It's quite big. We haven't tapped, I don't know, we haven't exactly tapped into it yet. It's a very big area. So again, I would kind of be looking to like buy more from like the 50% area here. On the 4 hour, we are kind of breaking past this trend line. People don't like trend lines because there's a lot of fake outs, but if you also use market structure, support and resistance to help you understand that, we can kind of see here that this area was the last high, which we are currently at the moment not breaking. So we could just see a bit of ranging happening for gold. I see this as a bit of a fake out, so I would personally maybe like move the trend line out like this. So then, if you're trading trend lines and you're waiting for that kind of actual breakout, then you want it to break out a little bit further out. But yeah, so right now, on gold, it's not really, this is very messy to me on the 4 hour. So we've kind of broken these lows, had this bearish structure. Now we're slowly kind of creeping up, but we haven't quite yet 100% got the bullish structure. But in terms of key areas, this is quite an interesting one to monitor. It could just need to accumulate again. So when you see price like ranging, just bouncing in consolidation, like I call this the accumulation, before like a bigger move. So we could just kind of like bounce. And at the moment, there is a lot of opportunity in gold because there's so much volume in it that one small candle can be like, I think the other day there was like one candle and it was like 500 pips. It was just mental. So you can kind of capitalize on gold as a day trader, as a scalper at the moment, but just understand that it's going to be you're going to be wicked out a lot of the time with stop losses. And this is a topic that I actually really wanted to talk about because this isn't something that, again, people like to speak about. Everyone's so fixated on their entries, but how many of you are actually fixated on understanding a strategy for your stop loss? Because how many times, guys, have you entered a trade and you get wicked out and it goes your way? Like, you you could have made money, but you lost money and it went your way. How frustrating is that? And people still don't focus on where they should have their stop loss and understanding the market conditions. They want these tight stop losses. Again, it might be ego to be like, I got the sniper entry with a 20 pip stop loss. And again, it all just depends on the market, because like 2 years ago, I used to have 20 pip stop losses, but there wasn't anywhere near the kind of volume that was going on in gold. And also, I was a scalper. I'm talking like I was aiming for like 20 pips in profit and 30 pips in profit. It's very, very different. But now, if I was to take a buy from this area, I would, my kind of 50%. Let's see how big this stop loss would be. It's like 150 pip stop loss, but I would be wanting to play it back up to here, which is a 1 to 6. So like that was crazy back in the day of having like over 100 pip stop loss, which I personally think is quite normal at the moment for gold. Don't know what you guys think. Let me know what you think in the comments. But gold is definitely an interesting one to be trading at the moment. I'm having a lot of fun with gold, but you have to really understand the condition that you're trading in. Okay, let's have a little read of some of the things that you guys have said. Okay, how do you treat a series of losses? Abby, just understand and know that having a bit of a losing streak is normal. It's just all about how to manage the emotion. So when you're having a losing streak and you are recognizing that you're triggered, you're in fight or flight, you are no longer thinking logical. The 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 skilled trader would walk away intentionally, not slam the laptop down and throw a fit that you've lost and throw your toys at the pram. That's not what I mean. I'm saying intentionally be saying to yourself, at the moment I need to calm down, and then I will come and deal with this later. So a good analogy for you guys, let's just say you're in an argument, right, with your partner. And how many of us, when we are in the heat of the moment, things get worse and worse and worse because you're angry. There's so much emotion. But it doesn't help if somebody just walks out, slams the door, and leaves the other person. It just still gets so much worse. But actually being able to communicate and say, right, I need to calm down. I'm not going to say anything until I calm down, then we'll have a conversation. That's intentional. That's not throwing your toys out the pram. That's a very intentional, let's calm down before making the decision, before actually having a conversation that is provoking a lot of emotion. It's exactly the same in trading. When you start to have a bit of a losing streak, people do not understand that they are no longer thinking logical. Their survival brain has been triggered, their cortisol is rising. There's so many different aspects of your brain that is being triggered right now, and they keep trying to see straight, and they can't. So then it gets worse and worse and worse until the account's blown or whatever. So again, the real skill is being able to become aware of this emotion that is going on, aware of yourself, aware of what is happening, and being able to do whatever it is that you need to do to basically calm yourself down. For some people, it is walking away. Some people, it is that they need to back test. They need to go on the demo accounts. I don't know. Whatever it is, you have to figure that out yourself, because we're all different. For me, it is about walking away. I have to just calm myself down and not make any decisions whilst I'm in that headspace. Okay, so what is your lowest time frame? So I used to really go down to the lowest time frames, but now I actually try not to go anything lower than the 15-minute at the absolute lowest. How many years old you in trade? How many years in trading? Nearly 9 years. Do you have yes, I have my own community. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's just Doey Trades. But yes, I am massive on the psychology and the mindset side of trading, because I think this is the part of the trading industry that is just missing, and we all know as traders, if you're here as a trader, we all know by far that this is the most hardest part of trading. It's not looking at trend lines. It's not, I've marked up some key areas for you guys today. Like, surely, none of you are that confused about what I've done. But this is not the hard part of trading. The hard part of trading is being able to think under that pressure, being able to be so self-aware that you can take yourself out of situations before it escalates, managing that emotions, not pretending that they just don't exist. Because again, in real life, if you're someone that just pretends you have no emotions, eventually you just explode, and then the explosion happens, and then it's so much worse than then just dealing with things as you go along. So pretending that you have no emotions is just a lie. People saying institutional traders are like no emotion, like they 100% have emotion. They are just a lot more, I would say a lot of them are higher in their consciousness to be able to recognize this before it's too late, basically. When you start trading BRICS currency, I haven't actually ever really looked at BRICS, to be honest. It was something that I started looking at a couple of years ago, but I've not really seen too much about it. I know it's kind of like a digital currency, right? But yeah, I don't trade BRICS. Maka, how was your trip? It was amazing, guys. The trip was amazing. We've already had a look at USD JPY. Sorry, Harris. Will Japan be impacted by Taiwan and South China Sea tensions? It may well be. This is why it's really, really actually interesting to look into the fundamentals. But again, something that I learned today with the fundamental side is it's not always the fundamentals that actually move the market. It's the speculation around it all, and currencies, commodities. To be honest, a whole lot of them, stocks, everything. There's just so much speculation, and this is why understanding human psychology and market psychology, crowd psychology, all kind of put into one, you can start understanding what we mean by speculation. Do you still operate your salon or just full time? The salon closed last August now. So we're just all in with trading. Let's do a higher time frame BTC analysis. We'll have a quick look at BTC before we do the giveaway. I'm really getting quite frustrated with my light. It just keeps switching off. BTC isn't something that I actually really trade that much. I'm really interested to see what happens with Bitcoin, in all honesty. I think it's a really interesting area because, we've literally got half of the nation think that Bitcoin could literally go to zero, or it's going to 1 million. It's I think if you're a long-term investor, so many people are like thinking right now, you miss that wave where everyone's like, we should have invested in Bitcoin when it was lower, now it's higher, and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's definitely. Let's have a look at it on the monthly. I mean, we have had bigger drops than this. It does look like momentum is really starting to shift. But I guess the last time we had something like this, it was there. So it has happened before. So let's have a little look. This is the trend line, and it's actually broken that trend line. So this is a monthly trend line. It's broken the monthly trend line. So yeah, this is interesting. This here is a very important area. It was an area of resistance, and it was an area of support. That's needs to drop a little bit lower. But yeah, again, as a day trader, if we're just looking at this from a day trading point of view, when we started to break all of this over here, we're having a lot of momentum coming down, and again, this could be a lot of fear-based things. There would have probably been no kind of like actually entry for me personally. I would have wanted, some type of pullback to happen. If we're looking at the daily, let's have a look at the 4-hour. Maybe a bit more opportunity on the 4-hour here. So we had a bit of a 4-hour trend line. So yeah, this would have been a really nice move. So we had this break of the 4-hour, market structure really showing us that we have bearish momentum, breaking this low here, coming literally to retest the back of that trend line. So any of my trend line traders, like these kind of positions here, I probably would have got in something like this. That's where that key level of support and resistance is. But yeah, so really, really interesting. I don't, like I said, guys, I don't really trade Bitcoin that much, so I don't really know so much about how this market moves. Didn't even come back into the 50% before just dropping again. But again, like a lot of this is Bitcoin and stuff like that. There's a lot of fundamental things going on. I know there was a load of stuff going on about Jeffrey Epstein and Bitcoin and all this stuff. So there's a lot going on. But again, this is an interesting point because we completely rejected away from this area here, which was a very, very key turning point. Now we're kind of like in a bit of an accumulation phase, because even though we had that big rejection, the last high was all the way up here. So we want it to kind of like start breaking up there for us to say it's going back up. Right now, we started to create actually lower lows again, broke this low, struggled to break this high. So overall, I'm kind of more bearish, but it's a very, very messy market, I personally think, right now for me to be trading. Unless you are, a bit of a scalper. And again, you could probably do a little bit more on like the 1 hour and the 30-minute time frame and things like that. So it's just not really my kind of market to trade. But yeah, so that is Bitcoin. I am a bit more bearish over being bullish right now. Okay, so let me let's just do a couple questions and then we will do the giveaway. Is there somewhere, website or book or video, that you can we can learn in general? Darwit, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I am literally just about to launch my membership, which is purely just to help traders. So if you guys are interested in that, please just follow me on Doey Trades. All details will be posted there very, very soon. I tried several prop firms, but I think ThinkCapital truly stands out. The system is transparent with no hidden rules. Oh, that's so good, Siam. But yeah, they are amazing, guys. And if you guys didn't know that they have their swing trading accounts as well now. So, swing traders, they're honestly absolutely smashing it. High room rate with low RR. Don't think too much into all of that, Appy. Honestly, I definitely obviously don't like a negative RR, but I don't get too wrapped up in all of that stuff. The main thing is, are you making money or are you not making money? When you get too wrapped up into all of this is where like ego really starts to play a part, and you start trying to prove a point and all of that kind of stuff, and it just doesn't matter. Just keep reminding yourself, guys, The only thing that matters is you making money. Let the ego go, drop everything else, stop trying to be the best, stop trying to predict everything, just focus on being profitable, making money, getting vulnerable, surrendering to the markets, because in all honesty, that is what it takes. Okay. In trading, everyone is correct and wrong at the same time. 100%. It's all about perception, guys. It's the same in life. We could all look at the same situation, and all of us take different perceptions of it. So again, don't think too deeply into trading about who's right, who's wrong. It's all about what works for you, understanding what your strengths are, playing into your strengths, understanding yourself, managing your emotions, and that is it. It doesn't matter what someone else is doing and this person does this and they're saying that this is wrong. Just forget it. It's all designed, it's all engineered to make traders confused and just all over the place. So yeah, really, really stay in your lane, guys. Let me just get I just need the link for the YouTube, so then we can ThinkCapital do our giveaway. I've really enjoyed being back today. It's been so good to be back with you guys, and thank you so much for joining in. I didn't get round to doing everyone's questions. I feel like we had a lot to talk about today, but we are going to be back again tomorrow, so we can go through a few of more of your questions. But yes, so I want to do the giveaway so that you guys who are still here can actually have the chance of winning. Let's just change this so that you guys can see. There we go. Okay, so I love this new branding, by the way. It looks so good. I'm like obsessed with it. Okay, load comments. Okay, so we need 3 winners. Hopefully my 3 winners are still here. Let's go. Like I said, tomorrow we are back at the same time so that I can make up for missing last week. So we got another chance for people to win next week as well. Okay, cool. Let's see. I'm checking in the comments now. Okay, so first person, Abstrad. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm just checking in the comments to see if you are there. XAU, USD, gold. Can't see any of you guys. And then we got society trades as well. I'll give it a minute or so to see if the guys are here. Yeah, I know, I definitely pronounced it wrong. Society trades, amazing. Congratulations. Okay, so we still need XAU USD gold to claim. And then we also need our first winner, which I can't actually pronounce, so I'm not going to try that again. But I know Society Trades is here. Okay, XAU Gold is here. Let me just make sure. Oh, perfect. Guys, we don't need to spin again. All of our winners are here. Message me on Instagram, guys. I'm just popping my name in the comments now. Doey Trades on Instagram. I'm the one with the blue tick. Make sure that you don't message anyone else. You message me and send over your email address. Make sure you're already registered with ThinkCapital, and we will get the accounts issued as soon as possible. So if you guys can do that, and we'll get onto it. Congratulations. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Tomorrow we are here at the same time. We'll do a giveaway. I really hope that today's session was helpful for you guys. I know we didn't actually manage to get round to answering as many questions as I usually did. I feel like I had a lot to speak about today. But we are back again, obviously, tomorrow, and we can answer some more questions. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you all later. Bye.